Hello everybody and welcome back to day 18 of Everyday October. And this is the look that I am going to be talking you through today. So earlier on this month I did a khaki look and I used khaki and gold colours all in one eye look, and I wanted to do something that was more green, more forest green, more vibrant. So this is the look that I came up with. If you want to see what products I used and how I created this look, then just keep on watching. Okay, so before we fully get into the video, I just want to mention two things really quickly. Firstly, I was wearing the L'Oreal Paris Signature liquid lipstick, the purpley one, yesterday, and it has stained my lips a little bit. I knew it was going to do that. I decided to wear it anyway, even though it doesn't go with the vibe of what I'm planning on doing today. And secondly, this is probably going to be a very long video, so go and get yourself a hot beverage. Mine's a tea. Go and get yourself a hot beverage because we're probably going to be here for quite a while. But today's look is going to be very eye heavy, very glam, very smoky, very blown out. So I'm going to start with the eyes. So I'm going in with the Collection Lasting Perfection Stretch Concealer and Eyeshadow Primer. I'm going to take this on the brush that I always use, the contour brush, and I'm going to work this over the whole lid area. I'm going in with the Collection Incredibrow and the Wow Brow. So as always, I will be right back once I've got some brows on my head. So that's the brows on, and I'm just going to set the eyelids. Firstly, tap out that concealer that we've already put on, and then I'm going in with the Rimmel Stay Matte setting powder. And I'm just going to tap that over the lids so that I'm not setting in the creases, and then we can go on to the eyeshadow. So that's all that nicely set down, and now I can move on to the eyeballs. So obviously earlier, well not obviously if you haven't seen, but earlier this month I did more of a khaki look with this palette, with the Beauty Bay 9-pan Earthy palette. I did more of a khaki look using like the bottom row of this palette. I want to do something brighter and more of like a foresty green, really sort of smoked out, probably like some sort of cut crease, really glam. And I've pulled this out, the E.L.F liquid glitter in 24 karat gold. I did use that in the khaki look as well, but I'm tempted to use it for this because I love bright forest green and gold. I just think it's beautiful. So I'm going to go in with this palette first, build up the look, cut the crease, and then see where we're at. So I'll just zoom you in so that you can see a little bit better what I'm doing. So I'm going into Trance, this brightest, lightest green, on a fluffy brush, and I'm going to tap off the excess. Not that it matters because I'm going to clean up under anyway, but just for my own personal preference, look down into my mirror and start building up a crease shade on the inner corner. So I'm not worrying too much about blending this onto the lid because I'm going to do a cut crease. I just want this to be really nice and blended, like up to the brow. I do want it to be quite intensely green right in that crease, so I just keep layering it up. And then I'm going in with this shade here, which is called Apple, just on the same brush, and I'm doing exactly the same thing but on the outer corner. So packing the colour on in the crease and then blending it upwards and sort of starting that shape. I want this to be winged. So I've switched out to a big fluffy brush now, and this doesn't have any product on it. I'm just going to blend out the edges. I'm happy with how those two are like blending into each other, apart from a little bald patch there that doesn't seem to be. Yes, that's better. So going in with the darkest green I'm going to be using today, which is this middle shade here called Pine, and again just on the same really small brush, and I'm going to start packing this on the outer like half. And again, once that colour's down, in with that big fluffy brush to blend all of the edges. And then I just want to darken that outer corner just a tiny little bit more. So I'm going to go in with this darkest shade down here called Eucalyptus, and I just want a really little bit of that right out here. But I don't want it to take away from the brightness of that pine shade. Just want it to be a tiny little bit darker. Then I'm taking a cotton pad with some micellar water on it, and I'm going to just clean up that outer corner, and then taking that eyeshadow primer again and a flat small shader brush, and I'm just going to work a little bit of that into the brush, and then I'm going to sort of look straight into my mirror and start to trace out where I want this cut crease to be. So I only want it like that far across. The real challenge is getting them both to be the same. I think that is just going to have to do, otherwise I'm just going to keep fiddling with that forever like I always do. So before all of that creases, because obviously we've got like a lot of product on the eyelids now, I'm going to go in with that pine shade again and just tap over the edges to blend that edge that's on the eyelid into what we've already got. And now I have to decide what colour I want to put all over that area. I think probably that Ray shade. I have honestly, since I used this palette and when I tested it, I have used that Ray shade so much. And the same with the other palettes that I tested at the same time, the berry one and the midnight one. They all have that sort of iridescent-y duochrome shade in them, and I use them all the time just with a bit of bronzer in the crease and then that all over the lid. It's just so reflective and so beautiful. So I'm going to take a flat shader brush, load that up on there, and tap that over that concealer. You see the colour of that, it's so pretty. So now that that glitter is all on the inner half of the lid, I'm just going back over with that pine shade just to make sure that is as intense as I want it to be, and then just making sure everything is blended out and sort of looking how I want it to, which I think it is. So then one last wipe just in case any of that glitter fell down, which it shouldn't have done, and I don't think it did. No, I'm not sure it did, but worth wiping anyway just in case. I'll zoom you out and we'll do the rest of the face. I will actually just go in with a little bit of liquid liner before I do the rest of the face, because then I can do mascara, and then if there is any fallout it will fall on top of the mascara, is what I'm thinking. And I'm just deciding between the two eyeliners. So I've brought over the L'Oreal Infallible 24-hour matte liquid liner. I have the brown or I have the green. Would the green be too much green? Or is there such a thing as too much green? I think I use the green. I think I've just convinced myself, so I'll do a wing. I feel like that green liquid liner is definitely the right choice because it's just a slightly different tone. It's more of like an emerald green, so it's obviously much darker than like that pine shade that we used, so it does still stand out, but it's definitely still green. I love green eyeshadow. Okay, so for the rest of the face, we're obviously going very glam, we're going very glowy. I'm going to start with, firstly, a few drops of the Boots Glow Serum. This one, because my skin is so incredibly dry, I just want to put some goodness into it. And I did apply some before, but obviously that was 46 minutes ago. That's how long I've been filming for. See what I mean when I say you need a cup of tea before you start? Like, that was probably like 7 or 8 minutes for you, 47 minutes for me. So going over the top of that with the E.L.F. Halo Glow Liquid Filter. This is definitely a bit warm for me, but I just love the way that this looks. Obviously we're going full glam today, and full glam requires me to use E.L.F. Halo Glow. Okay? Okay. For foundation, I'm going in with the Collection Lasting Perfection Glow foundation. I have this in the shade Fair 5, and I'm not sure, but I think this is a little bit fair for me. I won't put it straight onto my face, I never do that. I'm just very aware that I have a lot of glitter on my hands. It's fine. And I'm going to blend this out with a brush. I do have a sponge here, which I will probably use after. For concealer, I'm just going in with that same stretch concealer, and I just want a little bit under the eyes, blend it out with my brush. And obviously that concealer is in the shade down from the foundation, so it will just help to lighten and brighten. I'm happy with that, so I will go in with, what's my next step? Cream contour. Still going strong with the Collection Gorgeous Glow contour stick. However, it is very, 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 very close to the end. So I'm just going to load up a bit of that onto a brush, start working that into the skin. When I was like pulling the products out and like deciding what I wanted to use to create this look, like I had an idea in my head of what I wanted, and I wanted this really like fresh, dewy, juicy skin, which is what I often want, but I think I am looking quite sweaty. It's quite warm in my room today. You wouldn't think these candles kicked out much heat, would you? But they definitely do. So I am going to use that Rimmel Stay Matte powder just sort of down the middle, just to stop me looking sweaty. Like, I still want to look glowy, I don't want to look sweaty. So I'm taking a big fluffy brush into that Stay Matte powder, and I'm just going to really lightly dust that all over, mostly down the centre, just to stop me looking sweaty. I still want to be glowy, I still want to be able to see it, that glow up here. I don't want it here, because that just makes me look sweaty. So that is that all set in. I will now go in with the Butter Bronzer from Physicians Formula with the big fluffy brush, and I'm going to start just warming up the skin. So that stick that we use, that cream contour stick, is a lot more of a contour shade on my skin tone. This is a beautiful warm bronze shade, so I'm just working that into the skin. I'm going to tap over a really small amount of the Flower Beauty Flower Pots in the shade Wild Rose. I just want a teeny tiny bit of colour. Now, this isn't normally a colour that I use in autumn. I find myself leaning a lot more towards like warmer tones, and this is a very vibrant hot pink tone, very cool toned, but I just think with the intense green in the eyes, I think that's what I want. And then for highlights, I'm using this one. So this is the XX Revolution highlighter in Echo, and this is blinding, first and foremost, but secondly, it has a slightly pink undertone rather than like a lot of my other highlighters that are more like a golden undertone. This is definitely, firstly, icier, and secondly, pinker, so I think that that will go nicely with that blush and the green. And I am going to leave that out because I will probably want some on the inner corner, but I'm going to just do the under eye first. So I'm going to go into that apple shade on the same little fluffy brush, and I'm going to look up into my mirror and work that along the lower lash line all the way along and smoke it quite far out, but I do want it to join up. And I'm just running the brush over that line that we did before from the where we cleaned it up before. I'm just running my brush over that to soften it down a little bit, just so that it doesn't look too harsh, because obviously we are doing like the smoky under eye as well. I want it to sort of look nice and rounded, but not with too much over there, if that makes sense. Then I'm going into Pine, which was that darkest shade, and I'm going to do the same thing, but just on the outer corner, like so. So it's super smoky, but it's just that colour that we've already used on the lid. And I'm happy with that. So I'm going to tap over a little bit of that highlighter shade with a really, really small brush, just right on that inner corner. So although we've obviously got that green reflective shade on the lid, I like to use the same highlight that I've put on the face. I do like to put on the inner corner as well. I just find that it ties it all in nicely. So I'm going in with the E.L.F. Big Mood Mascara, and I will be back once I've done that because it's going to take me forever to build up as much as I want. So for the lips, I'm just going to tap over with my concealer brush. So obviously my lips are stained from the lipstick I was wearing yesterday. And then I'm lining my lips with the Satin Kiss lip liner in, this is Icon. All of the writing has rubbed off. I'm like squinting. All of the writing has rubbed off, so I can't tell easily which shade is which, but this is Icon on it. And then I'm tapping over the top of that with possibly my favourite nude lip gloss of all time. This is the Revolution Hydra Gloss in the shade Tainted. This truly is like my nude gloss of dreams. It's just perfect, especially for a look like this, where you don't want the lips to like overtake. You just want something really nude and neutral and not overpowering in any way. That is the perfect one. So let me take my hair down and see where we are at. I feel like maybe a tiny little bit more bronzer. Or do I? And I'm looking in the camera, I'm like, no, you don't need more bronzer. But in real life, I'm like, I could do with a little bit more. I'm going to do a bit more. Just a little bit. I feel like I did a really bad job of curling my hair today. Ignore the hair. But I just wanted that to be a little bit extra set down the centre. Not that I'm going anywhere today. I might wear this to go and do the food shop. Morrison's is in for a treat. But that is the finished look. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I would honestly say that these like Beauty Bay palettes, I have used them a few times on my channel now. They always deliver. All of the ones that I've got, they always deliver. So let me know if you like this look, if you recreate it. Let me know in the comment section down below. How fun would that be? Make sure to tag me on Instagram if you do recreate this look. But until next time, thank you so much for watching. Bye!